What's up, y'all? I'm back, JD. I know I said I was gonna come back just a few days later, but boy, oh boy, it has been nuts in the news. Everyone knows all the stuff about the Queen, and everyone's inheritance is still circulating. Lots of crazy stuff going on there. To be honest, there's been so much shit going on. I don't even know what to pod about because I don't want to give y'all an hour-long podcast. So I'm gonna try to hit a few quick things and try to come back early next week. No promises, but that is what I would like to do. So let's see how this goes. First, let's start off with something from around the week ago. And we go to npr.org for this one. A Texas judge rules coverage of anti HIV medicine violates religious freedom. The judge in Texas ruled that a requirement for businesses to provide health insurance that covers HIV preventative drug violates the religious freedom of some Christian employers. In Texas, a federal judge has ruled that businesses are not required to cover medication that prevents HIV infection. That medication is best known, not breast known, best known, is best known as PrEP. Experts say this decision could jeopardize access to many other preventative health services that the Affordable Care Act requires employees to cover. So basically, this is like a back and forth. This is not what I want. But the quick version is they basically said it was unlawful. Let's go to routers. Maybe they got it a little better. A requirement under the U.S. law known as Obamacare that private insurance plans cover drugs that prevent HIV infection at no cost to patients violates, yeah. So they're saying that it violates both federal law and the Constitution. A federal judge ruled on last Wednesday. Okay, got it. U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor found that the HIV pre-exposure prophylaxis or PrEP mandate stemmed from a recommendation by an advisory board formed in violation of constitutional requirements and could infringe upon the rights of employers under a law called the Religious Freedom Restoration Act. The mandate is a part of the Affordable Care Act, as Obamacare is formally called. The legal challenge was filed in 2020 by 8 individuals and 2 businesses, all from Texas. They argued that the free PrEP requirement, as well as free coverage requirements for contraceptives and the human papillomavirus (HPV) vaccine, requires business owners to pay for services that, quote, encourage homosexual behavior, prostitution, sexual promiscuity, and intravenous drug use, despite their religious beliefs. Holy shit. It encourages what? It encourages who? What? Okay? Are y'all as baffled as me? Please put it in the comments because good lord, holy Horus, what is going on? This goes beyond politics as usual, and I haven't played the drop in a while. I'm gonna put the drop up, but man, oh man, like what the fushnickers is going on?
Politics as usual.
A judge said that this impedes on. I mean, y'all heard it, but wow, this one is wild. Well, it's gonna go to the appeals court and then the Supreme Court, but this could get really nasty real quick. And I think that it's really sad that people are not going to be able to get their medication. And that's the part that really sucks. It's also really interesting to me that in 2022, and I have a lot to say on this, I haven't even really collected all my thoughts. So I'm just going to try to go off the cuff here and maybe we'll revisit this another time. But it's crazy to me that in 2022, this is what's being said. It encourages homosexuality. Yo, but that's crazy. Number one, it doesn't. Number two, the fact that this is a conversation in 2022 is nuts. There are so many archaic thoughts and beliefs that are still thriving in today's society. It's crazy to me. It's like we're in the twilight zone. I don't understand how that's even a thought in 2022. HIV is not the gay virus. This is not 1983. What the fuck? I truly hope that this goes to the appeals court and it is changed, it is overturned, because this is ridiculous. And it encourages prostitution and sharing drugs. What? Prostitution is how people got HIV? Word? This is nuts. And of course, it's under the guise of religion, because that's how they like to swing shit. Everything goes back to religion, because this nation is a secular Christian nation. Sad shit, if you ask me. Let's move on. Well, I guess it's worth noting that a judge in New Mexico has declared January 6th an insurrection, and they removed the commissioner immediately from office. And removing him is cool, whatever, because of his. I guess I should take these off. Because of his involvement in January 6th, him being one of the quote unquote leaders. This is what the articles are saying, not my opinion. And I think that's interesting. But this is the first time it's been legally called an insurrection. And that is very interesting. I think it's worth noting. I don't know if we should do a think piece on it right now, but I think it's worth noting, because the fact that it's now legally been called an insurrection could come with real life ramifications, real life consequences. So I think that that's something worth noting. This also happened a week or so ago. I believe it happened last week, Tuesday, but I could be wrong. But this happened a while ago, maybe even 2 weeks ago, to be honest, because it was a while ago. But I thought that was really interesting and worth discussing, or at least bringing up, because once a legal precedent has been set, once you start legally calling something a insurrection, it paints a certain picture. So this is really interesting, and I'm curious about what will happen moving forward with that case and the other cases surrounding the now infamous date. Let's keep it moving. Yeah, we'll do one more and then I'll talk, because I got some stuff for y'all. So I've got a list of probably 15 things, but I don't like to pod on this pod for so long. I try to keep it short and sweet, because the topics are usually deep and wild. So let's go to something a little more interesting. Let's talk about politics as usual. Illinois. Illinois is passing a law, or has passed a law, that will begin very soon. So let's talk about it.
January 1st, 2023, the following things will go into effect, and people need to be aware of this. It abolishes cash bail for almost every offense. This includes, but isn't limited to, kidnapping, armed robbery, second-degree murder, drug-induced homicide, aggravated DUI, threatening a public official, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. Offenders released on electronic monitoring have to be in violation for 48 hours before law enforcement can act. They could almost drive to Alaska before we can even look for them. It denies victims their constitutional rights. And keep this in mind, businesses and homeowners. Officers will no longer be able to remove trespassers from your residence or your businesses. Someone could decide to live in your shed, and all we can do is give them a ticket. You have to decide what level of force is required to remove them and whether or not it's legal.
All right, so here is a summary. Illinois non-detainable offenses beginning January 1st, 2023. aggravated battery, aggravated DUI, aggravated fleeing, arson, burglary, drug induced homicide, intimidation, kidnapping, robbery, second degree murder, threatening a public official. And what else? There was something about cash bail, I remember. Hold on. So this is called Safety Act, Safe-T Act. It will charge and release criminals without cash bail for 12 now non-detainable offenses. So those are the things I just read. And there is now no cash bail. It's really interesting. And people are calling this the first Purge Law. People are saying Illinois will be the first to enact a Purge Law. I don't know if this necessarily should be uh, compared to the Purge, but I understand why, because they're making a lot of things. They're putting a lot of things in the gray area, so to speak, as the officer is saying here, the deputy is saying here in the video I put up. You will have to decide how much force to use to remove someone from your residence or your place of business and whether or not it's legal. And so that puts things in a gray area. People on the internet feel that this is going to create a lot of chaos and is going to create a lot of crime. Um, so I think it's really interesting. I don't know if it should be compared to the Purge, but I understand why people are, because the whole idea of the Purge movies is that certain crimes are completely legal for a set amount of time. The difference here is uh, the crimes are different, one, and two, it's not a set amount of time. This starts indefinitely January 1st, 2023. So I guess the question is, should this be compared to the Purge or not? I don't know. I would love to hear what y'all think. Let me know. Uh, Either way, I think it's really interesting that this is happening, and I wonder where this came from. I know Illinois, Chicago, Chirac, all of that. All of that has been painted in a very certain way in the media and about the way that crime happens in Chicago. So I understand why people feel this may be similar to Purge, but I don't know if it should be compared to Purge. Either way, I think it's really interesting. I'd like to know more about it, but that's all the information I could find at the moment. Uh, so I guess I'll keep you updated on what happens with this shit in Chicago, because it's pretty wild. It is pretty fucking wild. Now, I'd like to talk about one more thing and then we're going to wrap it up. Well, two more things. Try to make it quick. I know y'all been here for a minute. I don't want to keep y'all. I try to bring value to y'all, bring interesting things to y'all, and then get the fuck out. Get the fuck out. So, here we go. And this is from CNBC.com. I try to quote my sources, so for all the happy people on the internet who like to say hateful things in the comments, you can know where the sources came from and not that I just made this shit up and pulled it out of my ass. So this is CNBC.com. And this article came out yesterday when you watch this, which is Thursday, September 15th. So it reads, the headline reads, billionaire Jim Koch says his Harvard MBA didn't prepare him to launch Sam Adams. Experience can be a lot more important than intelligence. Uh, Trying to get a quote here. It turns out there's all these nuts and bolty things. That's what he said, nuts and boltsy things. I didn't make it up. That's the quote. That even a reasonably intelligent person are not. Whoops. Let's start over. It turns out there's all these nuts and boltsy things that even to a reasonably intelligent person are not immediately visible. Koch told CNBC Make It. Experience can sometimes be a lot more important than intelligence. I think this is super interesting. And now we can take these specs off for the remainder of the pod. I think this is really interesting for many, many reasons. I can probably talk about this for an hour, but I won't. Very often there's an argument about academics and degrees versus experience. Many people who have high levels of education very often feel that they are at the top of the food chain and that they are not necessarily privileged but ahead of others. And this is very interesting because there's another side that believes, well, experience trumps your education. And I think it's really interesting that this billionaire is saying that years and years ago, when he started the company, his MBA, which is a very high level degree, it's not, it's not the highest of the highs, but the point is, an MBA is an MBA. And getting an MBA from Harvard is one, difficult, two, expensive, and three, when someone has an MBA from Harvard, they are highly regarded. And the idea is that you understand that this person is intelligent and hardworking, and a lot of people feel, not me, a lot of people feel that you should basically worship the ground that they walk on. When they walk into a facility, when they walk into a firm and say, hey, I'm applying for a job, and they see on the resume, whoa, MBA from Harvard, it should be absolutely nuts, and they should be ahead of the curve in many ways. And here is the man himself saying, it didn't prepare me. Which is really interesting because the idea is that school prepares you. The idea is that the higher level of education teaches you more and more and more. But the man himself is telling you that hands on experience means more sometimes. Now, clearly, I'm not saying, and this article is also not saying that this is every time, but I think it incites a very interesting conversation, one that I have with people quite often, where there's a line. You have intelligence and education, and then you have hands-on experience. And yeah, the person who studied thing A for 12 years, 14 years, 8 years, yes, they have a high level of knowledge in this field. But hands-on experience is something that can never be replaced. It doesn't matter if you know the manual by heart. If you've never put this thing together, then it's not going to matter. You can know everything that goes inside of a television or a laptop or whatever. But if you don't have the hands-on experience, you're still going to have a rough day. And I think that this was extremely interesting. I know I personally, and I know I'm probably going to get phone calls about this after saying this, but it's true. I will definitely be quoting this article moving forward in debates and conversations because it's something that people debate about often. People who go to quote unquote university, as they say across the pond, they have this kind of chip on their shoulder where it's, hey man, I went to school. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm talking about. Big dog on campus, even when I'm off campus. Feel me? No, we don't always feel you because sometimes hands-on experience means a lot more than just reading the books. And now, my final topic. More and more we see people getting in trouble for the shit they post online. More and more we see people getting in trouble for the things they post on TikTok, on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube. We are living in the I have to post it era. I gotta post it. I gotta post it. It's like people are itching. It's like there's a disease infecting their very bodies. And if they don't post it, they're going to get sick. It's really weird seeing this because, number one, I'm not that kind of person. Number two, I didn't grow up as a child on social media. And perhaps that makes me a dinosaur, but I remember when we had to plug in the motherfucking Ethernet cord and hear AOL go up with dial-up. All that shit. I remember that. So this social media game is very different for me. I know that I use it as a tool. I learn on social media. I make friends on social media. I connect with others on social media. I network on social media. And obviously, I try to bring value to the people who follow me. I try to share things that are insightful, thought provoking, etc. But man, I don't know what is up with people. It's crazy to me that everyone has to post everything. People are sacrificing their jobs as officers, as therapists, and plenty of other things. Everything from Starbucks baristas to people's personal therapists are posting inappropriate shit that is costing them their jobs, their relationships, their lives online. Everyone, the rappers, the fucking police officers, everyone and anyone. I mean, I would have to sit and compile a list of things that happen publicly and present them to you in a in some kind of deck or slideshow or something, because there's so much shit going on, and people every day, it seems like every day, are getting fired and getting in trouble for posting shit online. I say all the time on all of the pods I'm on, sometimes you got to know when to shut the fuck up. But it's beyond that now. You see, social media and the internet have fucked people up so much mentally that they feel I have to share it. And there's nothing wrong with documenting, right? Like if you're on a fitness journey, you go on a cruise, all these things that are worth sharing to you are cool. But at what point are you sharing too much? At what point are you sharing too much? At what point are you crossing the line? At what point is it too much? It's worth your job, your relationship, your livelihood. The things that people are posting are getting them in so much trouble, they can't come back from it. The I gotta post it era is really fucking y'all up and is really dangerous. I try not to tell people what to do, especially on my podcasts. But I implore you to ask yourself before you post things, should I be posting this? What are the consequences going to be if I post this? What possible outcomes can arise? Because man, oh man, y'all are sacrificing everything just to put it out there. Some people, it's to go viral. Some people feel things are like burning inside them and they got to get it off their chest. I'm all for self-expression. But TikTok is not your therapist. TikTok is not your boyfriend. TikTok is not your girlfriend. TikTok, and I like TikTok. I'm just saying that because it's the number one downloaded app last year. So clearly we're on it, right? Myself included. But my point is the social media platform is not your significant other, your family member, or your trusted friend. You need to be asking yourself, what am I posting and why? Because people are getting in a lot of trouble simply because they got that itch. They feel like, man, I gotta post it. I gotta. They just itching. It's just like, oh man, I'm going through convulsions. If I don't post this, I'm gonna get really sick, and oh no. Do social media. Don't let social media do you. For those who are still here, I thank you. Thank you for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, and share. I appreciate y'all for your patience and for your support. I'll see y'all in a minute.